Required forms. Again, there are certain forms that are connected with this process, particularly the Grad School Form 9 and Grad School Form 32. Definitely make copies of your thesis forms before you come to your appointment. The reason for this is because, especially toward the end of the term where it gets very busy and due to limited staffing, we may not have time to make copies. So it's very important that you make copies or scans of your required forms if you need them before you come in. This speeds up the entire process. Definitely complete any mandatory surveys. Examples of this would be, for masters, would be the graduate school exit questionnaire available in Purdue. Or if you're a PhD, you will also have to do, in addition to the exit questionnaire, you'll need to do what's called the survey of earned doctorates. The key here to remember is that make sure that you fully complete these surveys and bring in hard copy confirmation that you have actually completed them. So again, when you're going through these surveys and come to the page where you're just about ready to log off, make sure you read that carefully and make any necessary copies of the forms before you log out. The reason for this is that if you log out without making copies, you cannot go back in and get those hard copies. So again, please be attentive to what you're doing. All surveys and forms, we do have links to them on our website. Definitely do not get these from anywhere else. In other words, do not run any Google searches. The reason for this is because we have noticed that some departments and individuals are still maintaining information or even forms that have long been superseded. So if you do need information, go to our website. If you want to download particular forms, again, go to our website. These are the most current versions of the forms, and that way that won't cause any problem for you. Definitely don't confuse the exit questionnaire, grad school exit questionnaire, with any other Purdue or departmental questionnaire. So you should see these questionnaires pop up usually during your last term after you have declared for graduation. If you do not see it, then let us know and we'll be happy to assist you with it. As far as master's required paper forms, these are again described in our checklist, but again, Grad School Form 9, Grad School Form 32, Certificate of Completion for your Graduate School Exit Questionnaire. These are all mandatory forms. If you're a PhD, then of course you would have the 9, the 32, the Exit Questionnaire, and also completion of the Survey of Earned Doctorate. One thing we would ask you to do, particularly on the Form 9, is do not print double-sided. In other words, do not print the attached instructions to that form on the back of the form. We don't need it. It's not necessary. This is what the form looks like for your Grad School Form 9. This definitely needs to be signed by all members of your committee as well as the head of your graduate program. If your department does have a departmental thesis format advisor, she or he should sign as well. And we're specifically talking about this area right here. This is an either or where the chair of your committee signs or the department format advisor signs. If you don't have a format advisor, then again, the chair of your committee will sign in that capacity. This form is mandatory, so you must bring it with you to your final deposit appointment or make arrangements to get it to us in advance of your deposit time. And definitely don't confuse this form with the Grad School Form 30, formerly called the ETD Form 9, and do not attach the signed version of this form to your thesis. We just want the typed version. Grad School Form 32, this is again a mandatory form. You must bring this with you to your final deposit appointment. This is basically what it looks like. Again, do not attach this form to any hard or soft copy of your thesis. The reason for this is because right here, that has your PUID number, and we do not want to share that with the rest of the world. Tying in with what we said earlier, your major professor must sign Section 3 right here after completing a review of the thesis. And this is especially important now that Authenticate requirements have come online effective September 1st. So you definitely need to make sure that the Authenticate statement is signed and that all other particular blocks need to be signed as well. Grad School Form 15, this is only in cases of requests for confidentiality. A relatively small number of candidates request this each term, but the normal reasons are as shown on the screen here. Perhaps they're applying for patents, publication of a thesis, or maybe they're publishing a journal article. There may also be proprietary rights involved, so on and so forth. So make sure that if you are actually requesting confidentiality as opposed to a delay of publication, that this form is completely and correctly filled out. Please note that if you want an initial 2-year delay through confidentiality, then you need to run this by sponsored program services. The contract number and appropriate verification does need to show up on this form when we receive it. If you have any questions about it, again, feel free to contact the Thesis and Dissertation Office. Once again, confidentiality and delay of publication, these are two distinct programs. Confidentiality is where the thesis actually remains at the graduate school and we do not transmit it to ProQuest until it is released from that status. If that's the case, then your thesis will actually be in what we call our electronic holding queue. It will not go anywhere and we will not share it with any outside party. At that time, your thesis, including the abstract and citation information, will not be available for viewing. And again, this is a program commonly used when applying for patents, for pending publications, or when proprietary rights are involved. This is a Purdue program, and so you can use it as well as the delay of publication as described down here. So you can use one or the other or both, but there are different procedures involved. And in the case of confidentiality, there is an extra form involved as well. So again, if you're not sure about what this is, then you're welcome to contact the Thesis and Dissertation Office and we'll be happy to discuss it with you in more detail. Grad School Form 36, this is an optional form, but if you have an exceptionally long title, in other words, if you have over 200 characters in your title, including spacing and punctuation, you will have to provide us a condensed version of your title. The reason for this is because in Banner, when we update your title information in your transcript, we're limited to 200 characters, including spacing and punctuation. So if that's the case, then you need to fill out this form before you come in for your final deposit appointment, and then at that time we'll take a look at it and take any necessary actions. But again, if you have over 200 characters, including spacing and punctuation, you must fill out the Grad School Form 36 and give it to us. Normally the last part of this process is your thesis deposit fee. This came online effective with the fall 2013 term. It is mandatory and you must pay it. In the case of master's candidates, the fee is currently $90. If you're a PhD, that fee will be $125. West Lafayette candidates will pay the fee online through their My Purdue student accounts. We will normally upload your fee the same day as your final deposit appointment. But you should allow at least 3 business days after your successful appointment for the fee to actually appear in My Purdue. Once it does appear in My Purdue, then we ask that you take care of it as soon as possible before commencement. Please pay the fee to the bursar. You can do this online via your student account, or you can actually do it in person if you wish. Again, please do this as soon as possible prior to commencement. The reason for this is because if you do not pay the fee in a timely fashion after your deposit, this could result in administrative holds being played on your transcript and thesis by the bursar. So please keep this in mind that we need you to do this in as timely a fashion as you can. Bottom line, as far as the deposit process, please don't wait until the last minute. If you're not ready at least a few days before the deadline, which is established and clearly stated on our website, then you should consider depositing for the next term. We ask that you remember the 3 B's as part of this process. Be meticulous, be timely, be aware, and you'll be fine.